Morning, Mrs. Swalwell, for his opening statement.
Thank you, Chairman. And I was a member of the Intelligence Committee back in 2015 when the CISA 15 was enacted, and it was apparent to me then, even in the midst of very intense, vigorous debate, that we needed greater public-private cybersecurity collaboration. So I want to first just thank the witnesses for coming today and sharing their perspective, their members' positions, their industries' concerns, because we want to get this right, and we want to build on the success that we have. So we're hearing about new cybersecurity attacks every day, yet the federal government at the time had very little visibility into what was happening on private networks, and the private sector was receiving very little information from the federal government on cyber threats. I would say that is probably still happening today, and the biggest complaint I hear from you all, especially on JCDC, is it's a one-way relationship, and I know we want to do more to increase what is shared with you in the private sector. But I laid out in the 2015 debate that there was at the time almost no cyber sharing between the public sector and the private sector, and CISA 2015 sought to change that, and it has changed that. It's provided the legal framework to facilitate cyber information sharing between the federal government and the private sector. It gives companies the confidence that they'll be legally protected if they voluntarily share cyber threat information with the Department of Homeland Security or with their competitors. It's rare that these days we see such a wide consensus on any topic, but on the issue of reauthorizing CISA 2015, I've received a very clear message from everyone I've talked to. Do not let it lapse. Stakeholders have consistently stated that CISA 2015 has drastically improved public-private collaboration, helping our cyber defenders better do their job. Of particular importance to me was that in 2015, that we addressed privacy and civil liberty protections and demonstrated that their effectiveness was in ensuring information shared with the government is protected and always used properly. As CISA 2015 was developed, I advocated for strong privacy protections, and I'm glad to see those statutory requirements have achieved their outcomes. We must move quickly to reauthorize CISA 2015 before it expires in September. Maybe we could change the name so it's not so confusing with the other CISA that we're working on. That is one change I think we would all welcome.
A good name change.
Yeah, a good name change. While it's reasonable to discuss if there are ways to strengthen the law going forward, we cannot allow such discussions with such an imminent timeline to delay reauthorization. It's also important to remember there are steps that Congress and the administration can take in the interim after reauthorization. While establishing the legal regime to facilitate cyber information sharing, the maturation of Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, the original CISA, has provided a central hub for public-private cyber collaboration across critical infrastructure sectors. If CISA lacks the people and forms necessary to receive, analyze, and share cyber threat information, CISA 2015's provisions will be rendered meaningless. One important step for Congress that I have been working with in this committee is to codify the Joint Cyber Defense Collaborative and better define its mission and structure. And I hope we get a vote on that again this Congress. And the administration should restore the Critical Infrastructure Partnership Advocacy Council, also known as CPAC, or establish a similar new entity that provides a mechanism for critical infrastructure collaboration. Finally, we must continue to support CISA's efforts to improve automated indicator sharing and implement its Threat Intelligence Enterprise Services Program. Again, I thank the witnesses for participating in this. I expect I will hear across the board the value of CISA, that there are reforms that we can put in place, but if it's deciding between not authorizing and trying to find better reforms and risking this lapsing, or reauthorizing something clean and then fighting and working together collaboratively ultimately to get reforms in the future, I think that you would choose the latter. With that, I yield back.